Well, hello again everyone. It's Friday morning. I'm just packing a few last bits and pieces in the van. We're off this weekend to a site we've been to before at Wyming Brook Farm just outside Sheffield. And yeah, it's been quite a week at work. I'm absolutely exhausted, so definitely looking forward to a little bit of time away. Well, I managed to get away from work a little bit earlier than usual, so off we headed in the van towards Sheffield and the Wyming Brook Farm campsite. We didn't really manage to get away early enough that we weren't arriving in the dark, so it was getting darker and rainier as we headed further north. And as we went through Sheffield itself, I spotted some alarming looking signs. So we arrived quite late last night, and the Google Maps directions took us through the middle of Sheffield, and as we approached on the motorway I saw a sign to say there was a clean air zone and to pay online. Last time we come by the same route, and the clean air zone wasn't there back in September, so that was a bit of a surprise. And I looked it up when we got to the campsite, and I believe it's cost us £10. I think I paid the correct amount. The website is a little bit confusing. It talks about exemptions for large motorhomes, but I think that's to bring them down from the £50 lorry charge to the £10 van charge. Cars and motorbikes aren't charged, but of course our motorhome isn't a car or a motorbike, so yeah, that was a bit unexpected and cost us an extra £10, but let's not dwell on it, let's get on with our day. Well, our first stop was at the excellent Blue Moo Cafe, which is just outside the entrance to the campsite, and we had a little bit of breakfast there. Well, it's a lovely day, so we're off for a bit of a walk. We're going to go round the other side of the Red Myers reservoirs and then up onto Stanage Edge. And there's the campsite down there. These reservoirs supply water for Sheffield. Last time we were up here, back in September, there seemed to be a lot of work going on them, and at least one of them was almost drained completely dry, but that work seems to be finished now and they're all back full of water, and yeah, it's a very pleasant place to be, really. I'm definitely very pleased to be back up in the Peak District, getting some fresh air and going for a bit of a walk up the hill. So we're climbing up now, away from the reservoirs, up onto the moors on this trackway, which seems like a very popular route to walk and bring your mountain bike and stuff. We're coming up now to the famous Stanage Pole, which marks the border of Derbyshire, South Yorkshire and Hathersage and Sheffield, and possibly even the ancient kingdoms of Mercia and Northumbria. I'm not sure if this is the original pole, in fact I'm pretty sure it isn't, but yeah, there has been a pole here for hundreds of years. Now I wanted to try and find Robin Hood's cave, so we tracked across this rather boggy stretch of moor, and Nikki wasn't too happy with the boggy bits, so let's skip through this and get to more solid ground. Here we are on the much more solid rocks of Stanage Edge itself. Nikki's going to rest here and have a bit of a snooze. You can come with me and we'll see if we can find Robin Hood's cave. We climb down this bit here, I think. It's just a little bit of a scamper across some rocks until you reach the point where you have to go through a little bit of a crawly bit and drop down into the cave. Slight risk of getting damp feet here. But out the other side, you're rewarded with this fantastic view across the Peak District, especially on a lovely, clear, sunny day like this. Well, time to head back out the cave and go and find Nikki and see what she's up to. Now we're going to track back along Stanage Edge to pick up the main track back to Stanage Pole to avoid going through that boggy area again that Nikki really didn't like. This chap's having a great time in his paraglider. I had a bit of a go at hang gliding years back and really enjoyed it, but yeah, don't see hang gliders about so much these days, do you? Anyhow, now it's pretty much a case of retracing our steps back to the van. Well, when we got back to the van, it was time to have a pasty and fire up the diesel heater. And then later on in the evening, we walked down the road to the Three Jolly Lads, where we had a nice meal and met up with our friend Marilla. The following morning, Marilla came out to meet us again, and Nikki and Marilla spent the morning on the campsite doing treatments on each other. I, on the other hand, took my hammock and walked off into the woods. My intention was to find somewhere to hang out in the hammock with my camera and hope that some wildlife came along so I could take some nice wildlife photographs. Unfortunately, what actually happened was an awful lot of snoozing and dozing, so I didn't actually see any wildlife or take any photos at all. All too soon though, it was time to pack up the hammock and head back to the campsite, where we packed up the van and then headed for home.